It is the municipality's responsibility to enable grid access. Bongani, you recently spoke at the Wheeling and Trading Symposium in George, saying that municipalities cannot refuse grid access and encouraging other municipalities to prepare frameworks to ensure that the grid is open and accessible. What such frameworks has George Municipality put in place?
All right, thank you very much for the question again. In terms of the wheeling framework, we we've actually gone a sort of long path as a municipality. So the first step was that the team had to develop the aspect of having wheeling approved by council as a service. So there was a process to get willing to be approved by council as a service. This approval was then received in December 2020. And from that point, we then needed to put in a framework to say, now this new service, how are we going to manage this as a municipality? So part of that required that a use of systems agreement be put in place. Now, this use of systems agreement require the legal implications, regulatory involvement to make sure how do we manage this process. So the George municipality as a pioneering and the piloting side then went into aspects of developing and ensuring that they were able to put this framework in place. And then they were able then to put also policies in place, which will then be able to guide the private sector around how can they be able to access the grid of George in order to wheel any generation or energy to consumers that are currently within the George municipality. So there is a policy that is now approved by council in terms of how it guides the generation as well as the wheeling process. We've also took to NERSA the issue of the wheeling tariffs. Unfortunately, at this stage, NERSA indicated that they do not have the powers or even the framework for them to approve those tariffs. So municipal council will then need to drive that process. So our council again approved the tariffs that deal with the wheeling in our space. That is to ensure that we enable and free up the system for public and private sector to be able to participate. So we do have a policy, we do have a framework that guides the private sector around what type of wheeling that we do. Where we are, because it was a pilot, we kept it at some points, but we are busy reviewing that now to increase that cap so that we can allow even bigger players to enter the industry as we've unlocked some of the challenges that we encountered along the way.